Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk about how to use multiple move blocks in order to get the robot to move where we want it to move. So in the last video, we talked about the fundamentals of what's on this move block. And there were three main sections: the steering, which determines whether it goes left, right, or straight; the power, which determines how fast it goes and also whether it's going forward or backwards; and the number of rotations. So this just one block is a method of moving the robot on this board, but we can add to that by using more than one move block. And when we do that, what we're doing is we're creating an algorithm. So an algorithm is just a term that means a set of instructions that are used to solve a problem. So in this case, we have two steps to answer a question of how do I do something. So let's maybe take a look at how I could use a two-step algorithm here in order to solve a problem. The first thing that I'm going to need is a problem or a goal. So let's say my goal is to get to the green section on the board. One way that I might do that is to drive the robot forward and slightly to the left in a curve for a certain distance. I'm going to guess here and say 3 rotations. And then the new one that you've added on here, let's take it and tell it to drive straight for another 2 rotations. Hit play and see what that does. All right, so the robot turned to the left, but it turned way too far. And it didn't, when it went straight, it wasn't on the right course. So the question now, this is the process of programming. How do we take what we had and alter it in order to get it to be closer to the result that we want? And this is the thing about robotics. Most of the time, when you are programming with robotics, you are debugging, constantly debugging, going back and trying different things to get it to work. Robotics is not about trying it once and getting everything to work right. It is about constant small adjustments until you find a solution. So let's walk through how we do that and how we can think algorithmically and think like an engineer in this cycle of testing, editing, and then retesting. All right, so I noticed that my left turn took the robot way too far over to the left. So there are 2 ways that I could change that. I could make it steer less harshly, or I could change the number of rotations. Now I put 3 rotations in here. That's a lot. So maybe we should change this and just try it by putting it at 1. Now this is a trick that I like to use with all new robot assists. Only change one thing each time that you are attempting to do something. If you change multiple things at the same time, it's hard to tell which of the one things was the most successful or what you need to change in the future. So this is called changing one variable. Change one thing about your algorithm at a time. So I have changed the number of rotations that the robot makes on the first one. So how do I reset the simulator? I click here on the top section, I get my hidden menu again, and then I'm going to click the stop button, which is this one right here, and that gives me a brand new fresh board. Everything's reset for me. So let's run it again and see what happens this time. Oh, so now I am much closer than I was last time, but it looks like maybe we just need to tell the robot to drive a little further. So this time we're going to go and edit a different piece of the software, of our software that we wrote for the robot. This last piece where it drives straight after it has turned, let's increase the distance that it's going to go, maybe by double. Let's try 4 rotations of distance on that. I'm going to reset the simulator again by coming up to the hidden menu and hitting the stop button. And now I'm going to run the software. Let's see what it does. All right, I'm very close to having success. I think maybe just one more edit of the distance and I'll be there. So I'm going to come down here and change this 4 to a 5. reset the simulator, and try again. So there we go. I've gotten the robot to the green zone up there, and I did it by changing one element at a time in a series of attempts. So that's the trick. You have to go through one piece at a time. Now, you can actually do as many of these blocks as you like. They can go on and on and on. And when you do more advanced algorithms later on, they're going to be. So I want to give you the challenge. See if you can get this robot to move into the green zone and then visit the blue zone. So you're going to add multiple move blocks onto each other, go through the same process that I showed you here, and see if you can get that robot to move into both zones. A hint that I'll give you is one of yours is going to need to be a tight turn in order to get the robot facing the right direction. And if you use a rotation of about 0.7, that will get you kind of like 1/4 of the way rotated. So if you're straight, if you go 0.7, it's going to take you about to 90 degrees like that. So check that out, try it, see if you can get your robot to visit a couple of different spots. Drop me some questions in the comments if you have anything. And if you have a solution to this, maybe post it as well. So until then, good luck and happy coding.